that depends on the nature of the transaction. I'll let Dr. Hatem explain two different issues. An issue of paying extra due to the fact that you have to pay interest, which will be calculated whether it's a lot or a little. And the other case, which is selling the car initially with an entirely different price, even if it is higher, but without interest. Dr. Hatem, please.
Alhamdulillah. Well, with regard to the issue of deferred payments, transactions with deferred payments, the vast majority of the scholars allowed transactions that have deferred payments. There has been a minority that prohibited this because of a particular hadith in which the Prophet forbade two sales in one, but the hadith does not refer
to the
deferred payments per se, according to the very vast majority of scholars. So deferred payments is okay. However, you need to look at two things. Do we have a third party in this transaction, or we don't have a third party? Is it just the seller and the buyer? It's between the seller and the buyer.
Is there a lender in between?
Yeah. So
who's charging interest?
Yeah, basically that's it. So if you have a third party in this transaction, then we will need to look into what the third party is doing. If we don't have a third party in this transaction, then between the seller and the buyer, do we have one contract or two contracts?
Correct.
Is it like a sale contract and a debt contract, or it's one contract in which the car that is worth $300,000 in cash will be given to that person for $375,000. The bottom line is, if you agree on one of these two forms, $300,000 in cash or $375,000
in
installments, if you agree on one of these two before you sign the contract, then you're fine.
The problem is when the salesman or the company or the car dealer owner says the car worth 300,000 rupees, for instance, and this is all what he has to say. Well, I don't have the cash. That's fine. I would only charge 5% interest. So it will end up 350. That is haram. But if I buy the car initially for the price of 375, as this is the solid price which we agreed to from the beginning, without a mention nor stating at all the issue of interest, then that is lawful. Is what you're trying to say?
If he mentioned the issue of interest, then I would correct the transaction. I would tell him, don't talk to me about interest or not interest. I want to get this car over 12 months. How much would you sell this car to me for?
Well, taken, of course, if you have an access to that. But in the States, for instance, no car dealer would tell you, okay. Rather, they have to say it is worth 300,000, but with an interest rate of whatever it will come up to. So that form is prohibited.